I'm Anna Bellinghausen. He's Rico Alvarez-Clary, and you are filling in for us, Rico. JP, Jacob Adela, he's a little under the weather right now, so Rico, I appreciate you jumping in.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here. It's great to sit here and talk volleyball with you.
So Rico usually produces our show, so he hears us yap all the time about Nebraska volleyball. He's knowledgeable himself, but we'll kick things off with 11 straight sweeps for Nebraska, and there's been impressive teams in the history of this program, but this one, man, I don't know if any team's done it at the rate this Nebraska volleyball team has done. It's been impressive. 11 sweeps. It could feel monotonous for this team. Danny Busby-Kelly talked about a post-game of not getting complacent with themselves because she felt like that's kind of something that's bit them in the past with losing out in Final Fours and national championships. But what's been your impression of how the team has handled sweeping all these different opponents?
It's not that they're just sweeping all of these different opponents. It's the different ways in which they're doing it. There have been a lot of very dominant performances, and what was really impressive is going to Penn State and doing that. Doing what they did to Penn State was extremely impressive, but having the wherewithal to be trailing in some of these, I mean, granted, they've been getting to 20 faster than everybody else that they've been facing, but being able to do it in a multitude of different ways, whether they're having to come back from a couple points down or weathering a storm of service aces or hitting errors or whatever they have to do, or if they're just straight up dominating their opponents. It's been really impressive to see the multitude of ways that Nebraska volleyball has been able to continue along the path of 11 straight sweeps. And you're right, it can get monotonous when you're going out and you're just beating teams down.
Right.
Day after day, night after night, and they talk about how difficult their practices are and how that's probably their greatest competition so far in this stretch, at least, is themselves. And that's probably the reason why they're able to destroy teams the way that they're doing.
No, it's been impressive, and you mentioned them doing it in different ways. Take a listen to this. 6 different Huskers had at least 5 kills against Michigan State. Toria Sigler, 9, a freshman. Rebecca Alec, 8. Harper Murray, 8. Adriano, 7. Andy Jackson, 7. Manayo Beche, 5. Another freshman. I mean, it's just incredible how much depth this team has and how much the players themselves don't necessarily care who's taking the swings. Like, they're not about packing their stats. And I mean, even Bergen Riley, her stats could be way higher too, but they've given run to Campbell Flynn and allowed her to get acclimated. Same with Manayo Beche. They've given Rebecca time off and Andy a little bit of time off to, see Manaya shine in that role. And Danny talked about Manaya specifically post-game against Michigan State and Northwestern, just how good that freshman is. And, she said it before, she could be starting on, pretty much any team in the country if she wanted to. But the fact that she decided to go to a Nebraska team where Rebecca Alec and Andy Jackson are in front of you, 2 All-Americans, or to be All-Americans, it's just incredible what that team has in terms of depth. But there's not always one superstar, and it's great.
Yeah, it's a testament to what Danny Busby-Kelly and the team mentioned at the beginning of the season, how they're not, and throughout the season really, they're not worried about, one person getting player of the year or one person having, 50 kills in a match. Their one singular focus goal is at the end of the season to be the ones cheering in the confetti, to have the trophy, and to be celebrating a national championship. It doesn't matter to them whether one person is getting all of the swings or one person is getting all of the blocks or all of the assists. They understand that to win a national championship, it's going to take a team effort.
Yes, 100%. And what better of an example than the Libero position with Lainey Choboy and Olivia Mauk. And Lainey said it perfectly last week in the press conference of just saying, hey, I don't care who's in the Libero jersey. I'm trying to win. I want to win a national championship. And I'm sure they get tired of talking about it in press conferences about, the question of Olivia versus Lainey. Well, they're not competing against each other, right? There's one goal for this team. It's to win a natty. And I think Lainey and Liv have handled all the questions and probably some criticism with a lot of grace. They see what's talked about online and whatnot, and they understand, the narrative out there of one of them winning the Libero jersey. Well, Danny sees them both as starters. She's been very outward about that, and they need both of them. And I think that's been evident throughout. We have seen Choboy start the past 4 matches, which I don't think necessarily says you won't see Olivia Mauk in that Libero jersey at a different time. I think what Danny said preseason is still what she stuck to, and it's, hey, whatever the team needs in terms of personality, in terms of that match is who we're going to go with. And, I mean, she stayed true to her word. And if there's one thing that Danny will do no matter what is stay true to what she said in the past. Like, she hasn't really gone back on anything that she said. Like, she's done everything she said she's going to do.
Yeah, she hasn't deviated from what she has said at the beginning of the season or throughout the season again. And with Lainey and Olivia, it's kind of what she said, where it's one of them gives you one thing, the other one gives you the other. Lainey gives you the fire and the explosive plays. Like, she's going to dive into the stands like we've seen multiple times to get a ball, and Olivia's going to be more consistent. She's going to be there whenever you need her. She's going to dig all the balls, and she's going to set you up perfectly. So to have both of those at the same time and decide, during a match, hey, we're going to need a little bit more of this, so you're going to make that switch. To have both of those is really a luxury that a lot of other teams don't have. And to be able to have them be so selfless and to say, hey, it doesn't matter to me whether I have the different colored jersey on because we're both going to play a lot. I just understand that what I have to do for my place to win a national championship for this team, that's what Lainey and Olivia are doing. And to have both of them out there at the same time, when one is the Libero and one's just the DS, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because nothing is touching the court when they're both out there.
100%, yeah. And I think that just goes back to the mentality and the standard of defense at Nebraska and, like, just the legacy of Libero. I mean, Lainey and Olivia, I think, really understand this, too, just the history at the position. Obviously, trying to fill in the shoes of Lexi Rodriguez isn't easy. You go back to Kenzie Maloney, Kayla Banwer, Danny herself. Like, there's such a long-lasting legacy of the Libero position that it is taken really seriously here, and I love that. I want to touch a little bit more on Bergen Riley and what she's been able to do. So the stat this week, she passed Lauren Cook-West for number 4 on the all-times assist list. That's 3,225 is the number that she passed. Shout out Bergen. I mean, she's just been such a steady hand for this Husker team for her 3 years here.
It's crazy how high that number could be already this season if what we talked about earlier, if they weren't, switching back and forth and just had her at setter for entire matches, how many more assists she could get. But to move up to number 4 all time, again, passing Lauren Cook-West, is an accomplishment in and of itself. And to have, I'm sure Lauren probably mentioned it on the broadcast at some point, to have that happen with her on the call is probably amazing. But Bergen, for these 3 years, coming in as the number 1 player in the nation, the number 1 setter in the nation, and to take over as a freshman and lead this Nebraska team to 2 straight Final Fours and to do what she's doing this season despite kind of switching in and out, having an offensive change, having a head coaching change, and still to do it at such a high level is extremely impressive.
Yeah, to not miss a beat whatsoever is incredible. And Jacob and I talked about it on a previous show, but Danny really credited Bergen Riley's improvement and growth to why the offense has been so good this season. And I mean, the distribution that I mentioned earlier was 6 different Huskers having at least 5 kills this past weekend against Michigan State. Like, that's ridiculous. And I remember asking Bergen a question about this. I was like, do you count in your head? Like, how many times are you going to these different players? Like, how are you distributing so well? Like, how can you tell? And she's like, it's just a feel thing. She's like, I'm not in my head knowing or thinking about who needs one, who needs another one, whatever.
It's like, this person has 5. Right. I need to get somebody else something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's truly not thinking that. It's just how the offense works out so well and how much trust there are for all the different attackers. And you got the middles. And it's just incredible what Bergen's done. So a big shout out to Bergen. And I love this clip on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw it, Rico, but when Campbell went into set, Bergen grabbed Campbell's hands and was warming him up. It was hilarious, and she's spreading that little bit of setter magic on her hands. But I thought that was really cool because you can truly see how much Bergen has taken Campbell under her wing, and Campbell Flynn's going to be a hell of a setter herself.
Oh, she's going to be amazing, and to Bergen's taken Campbell under her wing, but then Campbell's taught Bergen a whole lot as well. If you remember at the beginning of the season, Bergen talked about how she was struggling to set faster, to set lower, and to get people into the offense a lot quicker. That was something that she wasn't, the best at to start the season, and that was something that Campbell Flynn came in, already knew how to do, and that was Danny's that was her offensive style. Her mantra really coming over from Louisville is we're going to set things fast. So for Bergen to teach Campbell all the things she knows, and then for Campbell as a freshman to teach Bergen the things she knows with already all of the talent that she has been fantastic. And to just spread the love around to everybody from the middles to the outsides to the opposites. Everybody's getting in touch, and to incorporate it, I love when they set the middle, and I know that John Baylor loves it as well, when they set the middle from behind the 10-foot line, I love to watch the ball, how fast it goes and how it's just on a line. Yeah. And it's just one quick movement, how the ball goes and the arm swing comes, and Andy and Rebecca are just smashing it. Yeah, it's been incredible. And you throw Manaya in that mix too, man. This freshman class for Nebraska is going to be so good. And I'm so happy that they're getting their opportunities their first year, because it would be tough, going to a university for the first time and not being able to see the court whatsoever. I know there are a couple red shirts on this team too that, they won't see the court yet, but at least they're, I feel like being welcomed by this team very well. I mean, you look at Ryan Hunter on the bench. She's like leading every dance possible. It's amazing. I love watching her on the bench. I need just a dedicated Ryan camera. 100%. We have a clip dropping this week of Ryan doing some swing dancing. It's incredible. But I just feel like this team is very together. They enjoy each other. They obviously hang out outside of volleyball too. And I love how they have all different interests. Like, you can see it on their social media pages that they're doing more than just volleyball. And so I don't know. I have a really good feeling about this Nebraska team in terms of where they can end up, national championship. But I don't know. It just feels it's like a different vibe, and they kind of alluded to this in a different press conference of the personality of this team this year. It's just so outgoing and bubbly and fun. And not to say the past teams weren't, or it's necessarily a good thing, but it is a change, and you can see, I think, just like the pure joy this team is having. And that's something that Danny's brought up too, just smell the roses has kind of been one of her sayings of like, realize where you are right now. You're playing on the number one team in the nation. Yes, you're sweeping all these teams, and that might, get a little bland here and there, sure. But realize where you are, right? You're selling out the Bob, twice a week, 9,000 fans. You're packing that in. You go on the road to Rutgers, and it's a sold-out arena, and there's fans screaming outside of your bus like you're the Beatles. Or the Jonas Brothers, probably a better comparison in 2008. Probably. But it's just crazy, just like how much love they get around the country, and like just the platform that they have that, it doesn't matter if you're starting or not or whatever, like you have a platform at Nebraska, and it's pretty incredible. There was a stat going around the internet this weekend of Nebraska. It was like the top attendance in volleyball, and it was Nebraska was number one. Nebraska outside of the state of Nebraska was number two, which is incredible. Which is just ridiculous. Like you said, you're going to Piscataway, you're going to East Lansing, you're going down to Nashville, and you're selling out all of these arenas because of who you are, because of the beauty that volleyball is in the state of Nebraska, and how good you are at the game of volleyball. Just being able to sit there, take that all in, and realize how blessed you are to do that. And we talked about it before, just having, not to say any, like, this isn't to disparage John or anything, but just having a different voice to lead these women is probably another reason why there's a little bit more of an upbeat, like a little, not joy. Well, there is more joy, but not to say that John wasn't bringing joy, but they just seem to be a lot. There's just a new spark. Yeah, just a new spark, just something to push them along as the season goes on. Because, like we said, you've been in the position twice already. Although Danny mentioned it, you can't get complacent by sweeping all of these teams, and kind of you don't want to just go through the motions, so to speak. You want to be able to push yourself day in and day out. Having a different voice there, for at least the older girls, is probably a welcome sign. Yeah, just a new perspective, a fresh new set of eyes on different things of like, oh, maybe this would be better this way, or maybe we should keep this or not keep this, and, allow for more conversation and more changes versus, well, that's how we've always done things, right? Yeah. And I think that's just the newness that Danny brings to the team. And, I mean, we brought it up a few shows ago about the Tate McRae concert and how she let the team go. Well, didn't really let. Yeah. She didn't get mad at the team for going out to that. She didn't really have a choice in the matter. But still, like, she could have, that could have been a big deal. There could have been, repercussions after that. Well, no, she's like, I'm glad they're having fun.
best answer ever, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need from your head coach and your team is, number one, that trust, but also the ability to allow them to have joy and fun. So, yeah, that's been incredible. Okay, so let's fast forward to this upcoming weekend at Wisconsin on Friday. It's a sold-out crowd. It's an 8 p.m. tip. Oh, not tip, first serve. I'm already into basketball season, guys.
It's here.
It's here. 8 p.m.'s first serve. Yeah, so it's going to be a tough battle. I know it's a late one at Wisconsin. You know their fans are rowdy. It's a tougher place to play in the Big Ten.
The Fieldhouse is a tough one.
What are you expecting out of that match?
This is one of those matches, kind of like the Penn State match, where there's still a lot of hype going in, but there was a lot more before a significant injury where Wisconsin lost Charlie Furbringer. I don't know if it's for the whole season, but she won't be playing in this match at least. So it's still a match that you get up for. It's still a top 15 matchup with
12.
Wisconsin. So I'm expecting, again, a sold-out arena, extremely rowdy fan base. But with the way Nebraska is playing right now, just the role that they're on, it's tough to say they're not going to sweep them, but at the same time, it is Wisconsin. It is one of your biggest rivals, if not your biggest rival in the conference, in the nation. So to have that type of environment surrounding you, to have the fan base, to have the number one team coming in, I expect Wisconsin to probably end the sweep streak of Nebraska, but I think Nebraska wins in 4.
Okay. Well, looking at Wisconsin's schedule, so they just beat Oregon 3-1. Previously defeated Washington 3-1. Then they lost to USC, who at the time was ranked 25, in 4 sets. So kind of right in the middle of the pack there when in terms of ability, which is really odd that Wisconsin is ranked number 12 because, we're used to them being, top 5 right up there, 1 and 2. I mean, you can never forget the match of the century, with Nebraska 1 or Wisconsin 1, Nebraska 2. Like, that was incredible a few years ago. But yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup as always. Rivalry, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, the Creighton-Nebraska rivalry went to 5. So once those emotions get going, anything can happen.
The last set that Nebraska dropped was against Creighton. So
yeah, September 16th. It's pretty crazy.
That's such a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. All right, moving on to our last topic of the day. Oregon, they come to town. I believe it's for the first time since they've joined the Big Ten. Is that correct?
Probably.
I think so.
Because when Dan was the coach, he never. Yeah, no, it'd be the first time.
Yeah. Okay, so the Ducks come to town and. Let's see. Let's take a look at their schedule here, but yeah. So they went to 4 with Wisconsin. So they did take a set from them. So again, not a team that you can necessarily sleep on.
No, but they're not the same Oregon that they were in years past.
Right.
Again, with their coach leaving and taking the Kansas job, they're kind of not really in a rebuild mode, more of a retooling mode.
Yeah.
They're trying to find their feet, trying to get their feet under them. They're still a really good volleyball squad, but in terms of probably a fear factor, it's not that high. I don't think fans are extremely worried about this Oregon squad. But again, anything can happen in the Big Ten. They're still a really good team.
100%. Yeah, taking a look deeper at Oregon's schedule. So they lost in 3 sets to USC. That was on October 9th. USC was 22 at the moment. They lost to Washington in a sweep. Then they beat Minnesota in 4 sets. And then they lost to Penn State in 4. And then they defeated UCLA in a sweep, who was ranked 25. So
the Big Ten
what do you do with this team? I don't know.
The Big Ten is extremely weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make out of any of that because Minnesota is, a top 25 team. Purdue is a top 25 team. Oregon's, taking these teams down. Wisconsin's taking them down. Penn State, still an extremely talented team, but without their All-American setter, like, every team in the Big Ten is extremely dangerous regardless of who is on their team, just because of the amount of talent that they've acquired and the level of competition that they faced. It's nothing new that they've seen. So week in and week out, you have to be careful. But this Oregon squad, you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And Nebraska coming off of a Wisconsin win, who knows? Maybe they're a little tired. Maybe the first set goes a little wonky. Yeah. You never know. Unless they get to 21st, then they're going to win because that's just what they do.
That's what the stats say. Yeah. What is the stat, Rico? You pulled up?
Nebraska, when they get into the red zone is what they call it, when they're the first team to 20, they are 56-0 this season.
Goodness gracious, yeah.
So if you could,
That's the death
as
zone.
Nebraska, if you can get to 20 before the opponent, it's a good chance you're going to win it.
Hey, yeah, just get to 20, you're fine.
That's it. That's all you need to worry about. And I'm sure that that's something that Coach Busboom Kelly is telling them, because I remember that's something that John said. It was a game of fives, first 5, 10, 15, 20, and they always want to be the first to 20. If you're the first to 20, you got a good chance.
100%. All right, well, Rico, thanks so much for filling in for JP. Get better, JP, if you're watching.
Hey, he'll be fine. Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Absolutely.
Let's do this again sometime.
100%. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks so much for joining us.